Before being able to watch the movie Obsession, I unfortunately found myself reading discussions about it online. I know, huge mistake on my part. As a result of that, I ended up being apprehensive about two things. The first one is the obvious one. Is the movie as good as they say it is? And I can say that, yeah. The hype was worth it. I understand it. I watched the movie and I was like, yeah. They didn't lie about that. People are obsessed with this movie. No pun intended. And I get it. Is it the best horror movie ever made? Absolutely not. But it's a simple yet very interesting premise that, to quote Christopher Nolan, works like a mother. Kind of in the realm of It Follows or The Guest. But then there's a second thing that happened while reading those discussions. They made me really wonder how nuanced and how deep this movie was gonna be for people to feel the need to explain how Bear might be the villain, or how Ian is actually the real villain, or what type of wish Bear should have made, and all this ambiguity around consent and good versus evil. So I don't usually form my opinions on a movie before watching it. Even if I see a bunch of stuff about it on Twitter or Reddit, I still go in pretty open-minded and ready to judge it on my own. But the things people were saying about this movie made me question just how deep and how subtle this movie was gonna be to make people have those discussions in the first place. Until I watched it, and the movie is not subtle at all. The movie is not subtle at all, so I don't get it. What's going on? I don't wanna sit here in every video talk about media literacy or whatever, but within the first 10 minutes, we know that Bear is the villain pretty much. We know that Bear is kind of weird and he's not this actual nice guy. We even see, nothing wrong with being shy, but we see Bear being a coward in multiple ways. We see Bear not being able to refuse to go out because his cat just died. We also see him not take responsibility. But the most important thing is that we see that Nikki is not this perfect person. They show Nikki being kind of just a normal girl, kind of an asshole, actually. She makes fun of him when he orders a pina colada. We see her giving money to the homeless person, but beforehand, she asks, do you guys have any change? And then Bear looks at her like she's super generous. Oh my God, she's so charitable. That's not her money, bro. So the movie is literally showing us that how Bear just sees the positive and doesn't see any of the negative, any of the red flags, any of the negging. He sees what he wants to see. I'm not saying that Nikki is a bad person, but people on Twitter were saying that, oh, Nikki was kind of leading him on, when in fact she was acting just normal, a little chaotic, even a little annoying, but overall, normal. My point is that the movie isn't trying to show you Nikki as this person that any one of us would be obsessed with. There's the talk in a car where she says that Bear is the only person that actually listens, which you could read as, maybe she's not that great and that's why she literally doesn't have any close friends, and Bear being obsessed with her is the only reason why he's listening to her. And then there's the part where Nikki just says, hey, if you like me, tell me. And Bear chickens out. Let me make this clear. I'm not saying that if you're shy, you're a weirdo, but if you're gonna use your shyness or your awkwardness to justify lying to people's faces, especially close friends, you are not a good person. You're a liar. Lying can cause emotional harm, especially about stuff like that. You are harmful to your friend. Now, up to this point, does that make Bear a horrible person? No, not really, but we know that he's a coward and he's a liar at this point. So I was extremely surprised when I watched the movie and Nikki was like, hey, if you like me, tell me now. I was like, oh, this is okay. They're not going subtle with it. Nikki is a great communicator. She might be a little intimidating, I'll give you that. Maybe a little aggressive, if you will, but that was Bear's chance to do something good. And you'll see throughout the whole movie, it's basically Bear getting chances and just not doing the right thing for the rest of the movie. But yeah, there was no subtlety there. Word for word, she was like, if you like me, tell me right now. And he says, I like you as a friend. Another discussion I saw was someone saying that Bear making the wish isn't wrong. And believe it or not, the comments were full of people being like, why are you defending Bear? Oh, people should be careful around you. You don't seem to know about consent. And it's like, what is happening here? What is happening here? Of course, making the wish is not wrong. Making any wish at any moment is never wrong. Bro, this is not what the movie is about. Bear is not a bad person because he made a wish. He had no way of knowing that was gonna happen. It's every action after that. Every action before that even. Believe it or not, you're not a bad person because you wish someone was in love with you. Pretty sure we've all done it at least once in our lives. So at this point, I kept watching, thinking, okay, maybe everything's gonna go well once they're together and he's not gonna be able to tell that his wish actually came true, right? So we can talk about this subjective consent. If your wish came true and you had no idea and everything seemed completely normal, Bear would technically not be able to even recognize or even fathom that he was, taking Nikki's autonomy away and effectively using her body for his own pleasure. But weird stuff start happening on like the first night. And I was like, wait, is this not going to be subtle either? And it wasn't. It wasn't subtle at all. As soon as he cracked that willow, as soon as he made the wish, Nikki immediately started acting weird. And it's not like he didn't notice. It's not like it was quirky, like hee hee ha. This is him researching if one wish willows work on the first night with her. The very first night. And I'm ashamed of that, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, okay, he did some research. He has kind of like a hint that maybe the one wish willow worked. But in the very first day, he sees this weird tribute for his cat. And it's like, come on, man. Obviously, she's not in her right mind. What are you doing? He talks about it to Ian. Ian is like, this is weird. She shows up at his door. And he still gets together with her. Now, to get directly to that subject of consent, especially consent, based on the discussions that I've seen, I expected them to start off weird and then everything gets super, super, super normal. So Bear is just not even thinking about the one wish willow anymore. And he's just having a super normal relationship with her in which they have. And then later on, she starts acting weird again. And then he realizes that, and maybe he feels guilty and he's not really that. I almost wanted to root for Bear because a very subtle and a very nuanced situation about consent, possession, or under a spell or under a wish would be interesting, would be deep and complex and interesting. But that's not the case in the movie at all. The movie is like, hey, they're having this weird time in the restaurant. You know the restaurant scene? The smash cut to the scene happens right after the restaurant. Nikki is already acting weird, saying things like, I love you so much. Bear is already freaked out. She brings him a gift and he's scared of opening the box. That's how you know that Bear knows that Nikki is not in her right mind. On top of, her absolutely freaking out when he asks her about her dad. Again, the cut to scene is literally right there. So here he is looking at the gift and then he asks her, do you love me more than anyone in the world? Pretty much like confirming, hey, does this have to do with my wish? And then he asks, does your dad really have cancer? She freezes, then hits him with the no, don't do that. I thought we were having a good time. And she tells him, why does it matter? And this coward says it doesn't really. Boom, smash cut to scene. Also, since he's not looking at her, we can hear her like basically sound like she's enjoying herself while being expressionless. Some people say that they can see her crying in this scene, which would make sense. I don't really see it, but honestly, that would be like an extra detail to really confirm. But I don't think there's any question as to what we're witnessing here. Again, none of that is my opinion. All of that is what literally happens in the movie, what we're being shown. This reminds me of my Pluribus video again, where I literally list what the show is showing us, and people are like, like, what's going on? So yeah, for the people who saw the title of this video and are pissed because they love the movie and anything that sounds like criticism is awful to them, you're most likely not still watching. You probably already wrote a comment. The movie in itself is actually pretty deep, in the sense of if you watch everything that goes around the relationship and you start exploring all the little details, the movie gets pretty deep. But the main concept isn't. This is not criticism. This is just, it is this kind of movie. And the main plot points are just not ambiguous at all. The movie isn't trying to make you think maybe Bear is the villain. It's not. It's showing you that he is a little bit in the beginning, but like very clearly through the whole thing until the end. It is not a maybe. This is not an open ending. This is not Inception. But just like any movie, there are plenty of parts that you can speculate on or observe, things that can confirm the main plot points. First time I watched it and Bear wanted someone to make a wish that he had never made a wish. I thought finally he's doing the right thing. After watching it a second time, I realized that his goal was to make the wish again, but with better conditions. Again, that is not what the movie showed us, but it's kind of implied. There's no way of really knowing. I saw someone on Instagram explain that when he called the customer service for the One Wish Willow, he says, is there a way to modify the wish? He doesn't say cancel the wish. It's only when they told him that he can't change the wish that he asks about canceling the wish. That means even after everything he had gone through, he was still trying to not let go of Nikki's obsession for him, or if you want to call it that. But that is demonstrating his obsession with her. The movie is called Obsession because he is obsessed with her. So yeah, I'm not saying that the movie is not deep at all and there isn't anything to discuss about it. It's just that the discussion that I've been seeing are like so surface level and still like misunderstood somehow that I'm like, who is watching this movie? Like, yes, the internet is full of children, but that can't be like the target audience. What's going on? The movie actually has a lot of very interesting facts, a lot of interesting like Easter eggs or just little details that are super, super interesting that I might make a video on. I'm not sure. In the meantime, I would urge you, if you actually enjoy this movie, to go watch pretty much every interview with the cast and the crew and Curry Barker, because they reveal a lot. Oh yeah, there was one, this one pissed me off, man. There was one theory that was like, oh, real Nikki shows up when she sees her reflection, and the whole thing with the flower pot was to avoid seeing herself in the mirror. And it's so dumb because they justify every time real Nikki show up with like the dumbest, oh, she saw her reflection in his eyes and they're in a pitch black room. Or at the party, she saw her reflection in the glass bottle. Come on, what are you saying, man? What are you saying? But then someone said that to Curry Barker and he was like, you know what? It's interesting that people are creating stuff from scratch, things that we never thought of. So he pretty much said that, no, that's not a thing. He also confirmed that it's not whatever. Maybe I'll make a video about the actual theories, the actual interesting stuff. But this video was just a rant about how people were fighting each other over like the most surface level things that the movie is confirming and showing you and actively demonstrating for you. Things that you're supposed to understand by looking at the screen.